Everyone, welcome back to another cool astrology video at Haunted Cerebral Astrology. In this video, I'm going to do kind of a quick and dirty off-script video, kind of look at what the perspective of is in the birth chart. So just to kind of help people to understand, when you look at a birth chart, what are you looking at? Because I've noticed that some clients, every client's going to come into a consultation with a different degree or level of knowing about astrology and what the different things mean in the birth chart. But a lot of people, when they see like a birth chart, they don't really know what they're looking at. It's quite abstract. So I thought I would try to do some videos, this one to try and help clients to come into the consultation and have a little bit of more knowledge about what they're looking at when we do a consultation. This video is going to be mostly focused on just the perspective of the birth chart. I'm not going to go into any kinds of delineations or meanings of things. It's mostly just to help you when you come into the consultation. You're like, okay, well, what am I even looking at? So let's try and do this kind of quick. I also just want to say before we move on into the chart that, yeah, thanks everyone for your support in this channel. If you want to continue to support, please hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe. If you want to book a consultation with me, information's down below. And if you think that this video will help somebody, please feel free to share it. Okay, so let's look at this birth chart here, or just, it's a transit chart basically. And this is just showing you the placement of the planets in the chart at this time, which is 1:49 p.m. in Berlin, Germany. So I'm in Berlin, so oftentimes I tell people when they're watching my videos just to adjust it to wherever location you are, and then that will like change some of the locations of things. And so location's important because it also tells you about where the ascendant is and also where the planets are going to be in relation to the ascendant. I won't get too into what the ascendant means and what all those other things means. It's mostly just, I'm just mostly going to focus on the perspective. So when you come and you look at this, you're like, okay, well, what am I even looking at? And so I think it's important to note that when you're looking at a birth chart, you're looking at the cosmos from this geocentric perspective. And you can kind of put yourself into the shoes of somebody from, 1,000 years ago. When you look at one of these charts, this is like basically, they use different charts. The circle chart, I believe, was introduced during the Renaissance. Don't quote me on that, maybe even later. But the charts were always kind of to give you an idea from this geocentric perspective of how things were laid out in the cosmos. So when you're looking at a birth chart, imagine that you're standing in a field and you're looking south towards the southern horizon. And then you want to draw a line across these two markers, the ascendant being this AS here and the descendant being this DS here. And that line across those two markers is telling you where the horizon is during this time, 1:49 p.m. in Berlin, Germany. That's where the horizon is. Now, of course, we're looking at the ascendant descendant markers moving in relation to the chart. You're still gonna, when you're standing there, you're still gonna feel like it's level. So hold on, maybe I can better illustrate this by moving the ascendant back a bit so it's more level. Yeah, so imagine that you're standing in a field looking south. You drew a line across. This line represents the horizon. You're looking south towards the sky, so this way. And so that means that this marker here is the eastern horizon where the sun rises, and this marker here is the western horizon where the sun sets. So anything above this two markers is going to be things in the sky from a geocentric perspective, and anything below them are going to be things under the earth, so to speak, or below the horizon where you can't see them. And so we have different things in the chart that kind of illustrate that. one of them being this marker here, the MC, and the other one being the IC. And the MC is stands for the meridian marker, and it's essentially the highest point in the ecliptic based on its relation to the ascendant. So where things are going to be the highest in the highest point in the sky on any given time whenever you're looking at a chart. So just because this chart's a daytime chart, and I know that because this symbol here represents the sun, and it's above the horizon. It's also you know, nearing, it's past midday, it's past noon, so it's actually past the MC, and the MC doesn't necessarily represent the noon marker, but it will show you where things are at their highest point in the sky, their most elevated point in the sky. And so any of the planets or anything that's close to the MC is going to have very high levels of visibility because they're so high. So that's part of its meaning too. Its meaning is about its visibility, its publicness, its high level of achievement and angularity. Its high level of being at the top. So there's something about it being at that high point that's where a lot of its meaning comes from. And that's why it's often associated with things like action and career and vocation, as well as just prestige in general. The 10th house, so these different numbers here are houses, and you're going to want to know where the ascendant is at any given time to determine what the houses are. I won't go into all the topics of the houses, but by knowing where the ascendant is, that lets you know that Virgo, for instance, in this chart is in the ascendant. So then Libra is going to be in the 2nd house, Scorpio in the 3rd, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We have Gemini here in the 10th house, which means that that the 10th house has to do with career. It has something to do with seen action, vocation, public ranking, achievements, and things like that, because it's in a basic way, it represents the place of highest point, right? Highest culmination. So when we're looking at a chart, we're looking to the south, but we're also looking at where the ecliptic is running in relation to the horizon. And that's telling us where the different planets are going to be at any given time. And also where they are in the sky from our perspective. So things that are above the horizon are visible. Things that are below the horizon are invisible. And that has also something to do with their meaning, right? And with the MC being the highest point, this marker here, the IC here is the lowest point. So things that are most visible are close to the MC or related to the MC, and things that are most invisible are going to be close to the IC or related to the IC. While the AS has to do, the ascendant has to do with like birthing, inceptions, starting, beginnings. The DS, the descendant, has to do with endings, completions, resting, coming to an end of things. So these different points are going to tell us different meanings in relation to the way the different planets are in the sky at any given time. So I think that's all I'm going to get into in this particular video. I just wanted to kind of illustrate that when you look at a chart, you're seeing different things. Maybe let's just give a couple examples of 2 different birth charts to show you like how that works. So here we have Chloe Savini's chart. Chloe Savini is an actor, American actor. So we mark from here the AS to the DS, so the eastern horizon to the western horizon, put a line across there. We put a line through the middle here, seeing that we're looking at that. We see here that she's actually born at night, or she's born close to sunrise. See, the sun here is below the AC. That means that actually she's born at night. That's going to tell us different things about the chart. Don't have time to go into those now. I could probably going to go through that in a different video, but I just want to illustrate this perspective thing. So she was born at night, to see how there's nothing in the 10th house. There's Saturn in the 9th. So maybe if you were outside during the time that she was born, maybe you would have been able to see Saturn in the night sky there. Okay, and then let's give one more chart example. So here's Robert Rauschenberg, very famous American artist. We put a line again across the AS and the DS. We look again, we're looking towards the southern horizon. And we can see that the sun is in the MC. It's in the 10th house of career and vocation and publicness and practice, as well as, summits, top level things. That's why it's associated with authorities and things like that. It's also close to the MC, so it's very loud. It's also there with Mars. So there's something very abrupt and kind of volatile, and also challenging and strong and entrepreneurial about this 10th house matters for him, his career. He was taking a lot of risks in his career. So we can see that he was born during the day. That means he's a daytime chart, and that's going to mean different things. It's going to set sort of a baseline determining which planets are going to be the most beneficial for him, which ones are going to be the most detrimental for him, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll probably go into that sort of stuff in a later video. The main point was that I wanted to kind of show you how the perspective is in a chart. It's also, I thought it would also be helpful to see how the chart actually moves. So I was moving it by day, and you can see, watch the moon here. I think you'll get a feeling for this. So watch the moon. The moon is moving through the zodiac quite quickly. You can also see over here, watch while Venus moves into Gemini. So you saw that from May 8th to May 9th, Venus moved into Gemini. And then also, just to illustrate, so that's called the secondary motion, and that's the motion of the planets along the ecliptic, which is this direction. And then I'm going to show you another illustration of how the chart is moving, just to give you an idea that when you're looking at a chart, you're not just looking at like time standing still. You're looking at something that represents motion in time. So if we just move the chart forward by 5-minute increments, you can see, watch the ascendant as it moves to it's getting to the end. There we go. So it moved into Libra, and no longer is Virgo in the 1st house. Virgo is now in the 12th house. And then Gemini is no longer in the 10th house. Now we have Cancer in the 10th house. And again, also Capricorn became the 4th, Aries became the 7th. So let's do that one more time just to show you how it works. So we're going forward in time. Here, I think it's also good to note, watch as the time moves forward. It's nearing the end of Libra. And then there we go, we're in Scorpio. So now Scorpio is the 1st, Libra's in the 12th, we got Leo in the 10th. And actually, anytime you get, let's say you get a fixed sign or a double-bodied or a mutable sign or a cardinal, or what's also called a tropical sign in the 1st house, that's going to tell you what kind of signs are going to be in the 10th, 4th, and 7th house, because they're all going to be of the same quadruplicity. And that motion that I just illustrated is called the primary motion. And from the geocentric perspective, so if we went back on like 1,000 years ago, people thought that the cosmos was moving around the Earth, and that was like the motion of God in some way. It was moving the cosmos around us. But now we know, because of modern astronomy, we know that actually the Earth is spinning. So that motion is the illustration of the Earth spinning. And you can really see that in person if you go out and watch like the sunrise or the sunset, and you can see that like you can notice how quickly the Earth is going to be spinning depending on how quickly the sun goes rises above the horizon or sets on the horizon. And oftentimes, I don't know if you notice, but sometimes when you're watching a sunrise, you'll be like, oh, wow, that was a really quick sunrise. And that's because different signs have different lengths to them, called ascensional times, and some are going to go quicker than other signs. So that's something to notice. So that's it, I think, that I wanted to illustrate for this video. It's really just about the perspective of the chart. I hope that was helpful in some way. Please leave a comment below if you want to know more about what we're looking at when we look at a birth chart, to maybe help you to better understand what you're looking at when you want to look at your own chart, or also when you go into a consultation, so you're a bit more better prepared for talking with the astrologer, so that you don't spend so much of the consultation on teaching you what it is you're looking at, because you only have so much time, and you're paying for it. And you want to get more into what is the chart saying about your life, rather than, what am I looking at? So that's it for this video. I'm planning on also releasing a kind of like a PDF legend at some point to tell you about what the different glyphs mean, and what the different houses mean, just to have a helpful tool, so that when you enter a consultation, there's not so much of like this teaching experience. It's more like, okay, let's get into what the chart is saying. All right, I think that's it. Thanks everyone for your support. Please leave a like, hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, share this video if you think it's going to help someone. If you want to book a consultation with me, information's down below. Thanks everyone for always being there and for all your support. Keep coming back. Bye for now.